One of the things that happened after T-Mobile reported earnings yesterday is the stock dropped substantially, down about 5%, I believe, after hours, and that remained through the beginning here in the pre-market. And it really, I think most people kind of surprised us. And the reason why I think it kind of surprised us is because so much was so good on the call. And looking at some of the numbers from the quarter, we saw, record-setting free cash flow for them as a company, industry-leading metrics from revenues to free cash flows to all these other metrics. But there was one that has essentially carried T-Mobile into this, such a great stretch run within Wall Street. And that's their growth number, which is the growth in customer net additions in postpaid phone. Why do people care so much about postpaid phone? Why is this such an important metric? What's the most profitable type of customer? And it's the number that has catapulted T-Mobile in growth, and where the investor has said, we're going to put our money here because we see growth upside. And for the first time, T-Mobile didn't really hit or exceed projections or expectations. I think they were expecting like 505,000 or 510,000. T-Mobile came in at 495,000, and part of that is due, and it's pictured right here, part of that is due to the fact that both Verizon and AT&T were very promotionally active in this quarter. Now for Verizon, all that promotional activity, they still lost like over 300,000 customers. So T-Mobile did grow, and that's important to note. AT&T grew too, but I want to show you guys something. Here's the AT&T number. AT&T had 324,000 postpaid phone net adds and postpaid churn of 0.83. So having the industry's best churn means the customer isn't leaving as much compared to your competitors. And you're adding 324,000 full paying customers. There are no free lines at AT&T. At T-Mobile, this number, 495,000, if we assume that, every third line is free or whatever the offer is from T-Mobile in that structure, if a third of these lines are free and not paid, does it really matter all that much? Well, if you run the numbers, this is going to be about 332,000 paying lines, and the other 163,000 are not paid. You know what I mean? So I'm looking at it from this standpoint. Customers are willing to pay for service. If the lines are free, well, then it looks to be like T-Mobile's just trying to pad the numbers. T-Mobile's just trying to make it look like they can still grow. The only problem is you have AT&T who's able to sell as many paid lines as you, and you're giving away free lines, and you're not really doing what you used to do. I think that the investor, I think the street was right to analyze this and say, maybe T-Mobile isn't going to grow like it used to. This is a much more competitive market in switching for the customers. I think what's important to note here, the plans don't really seem to be what's driving switching, at least not from what we could tell. Everything from earnings from all companies was all centered around phone promotions, trading in broken phones, trading in really old phones, getting full value for them, and then getting new iPhones. And it seems like that's what hurt Verizon the most. Why didn't they grow? Their phone promotions were peeled back. And then when you look at AT&T, how do they continue to grow, even though they're not as cheap as T-Mobile? When you look at the phone costs, I should say the plan costs, and you look at the account level costs, AT&T is much more expensive, but they still grow, right? It's the phone deals. AT&T has been very clear. You're going to get the best phone deals here, new and existing customers, and the plan doesn't matter. T-Mobile's kind of shifted some of that a little bit, and I think the investor is saying now, well, maybe you aren't growing like you used to. We'll have to see how Q2 plays out. We'll have to see what AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile do, but the industry is projecting more growth through the rest of the year, and it's going to be centered around device promotions. We'll see if T-Mobile continues to be active. We'll see if they ramp up. We'll see if those numbers come up for them. Maybe this is a one-off, or maybe this is a trend. Maybe AT&T and Verizon are going to take the fight to T-Mobile, and things are going to be different moving forward. It's a possibility. Let me know what you guys think. Like, share, subscribe, drop me some comments. Check out some more of our videos. We'll see you on the next one.